And we're going to go live here. So this is the live button on IG. Checking connection. Actually, yeah, we're live here, and we're going to go live here on. All right. Let's go live here once that flips over there. Mirror the minute. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Thank you, Natalia. Okay, we are live for our Tuesday live. So today I'm going to go over a very, very critical aspect of your sales process that most salespeople just don't know anything about. They quite literally have never been trained how to do this. And that is, how do you use your tone to cause your prospects to let their guard down? Okay. How do you use your tone to influence them to want to open up and want to actually engage with you? Because if you don't know how to do that, that means your prospects are staying surface level with you. You ask questions that give you vague or generalized answers. And then at the end, you're going to get tons of objections. I want to think it over, need to do more research, need to keep looking around, and others. And it's all because you haven't learned yet how to influence them to open up by using your tone. Now, I know most of you, if you've been in sales more than a week, you've probably read sales books or training that says your tonality, okay, your verbal and nonverbal communication is 73% of every sale you make. There's a lot of truth into that, but no one ever knows how to train you how to do that, right? Because the theory sounds good, but until you get in the trenches, you have to know how to do that. Because there's certain parts of your conversation that requires different tones. And if you don't know what questions require a curious tone compared to a skeptical or concerned tone, or sometimes even confused, depending on what you sell and when in the conversation, you're just quite literally losing deals that you could be making. That our clients who sell exactly what you do, they make those deals every single day like it's easy. All right. Now we're going live on like 7 different platforms. So we're going live over here on the TikTok phone. Welcome, TikTokers. We're going live here on the Instagram phone. I call that my Batman phone, my bat phone, the Instagram phone. We're also going live here on my desktop using StreamYard. We're going live in our Facebook group, Sales Revolution. Almost 70,000 of you in there running around. We're going live on the Facebook business page, about 114,000 of you on that one. My Facebook, our YouTube channel, that thing's growing crazy, and LinkedIn. And we're going live here on Instagram. 430 some thousand followers on here on Instagram. Love you guys too. Just started on IG a year and a half ago. You guys have really grown from those reels. Now, write this down because I'm going to go over this with you, and I'm going to spend about 20 to 25 minutes, and I'm going to show you different industry-specific example questions, and then I'm going to role play using my tone so you can see what it does. And then I'm going to explain why I used a certain tone for that type of question compared to another type of tone, and psychologically what it does for the prospect. All right. Now, if you are brand new to the Facebook group Sales Revolution or the Facebook business page, you just started following me on YouTube or LinkedIn, or maybe you started following me on here on Instagram or TikTok. My name is Jeremy Miner. I'm the founder of Seventh Level. Now, Seventh Level is an organization, a sales training organization, obviously, that trains salespeople exactly like you. So we train sales professionals like you. We train sales executives like you. We train sales management, leadership like you, coaches, consultants, business owners. And we train you and your teams by learning specific skilled questions and techniques that work with human behavior rather than work against it. Are you sure the questions you've been forced to learn? Are you sure the tonality you've been forced to learn is actually the right questions? 100% sure that they're the right questions asked at the right time with the right tone? Okay. And we're going to go over that because there's certain questions that require more of a curious tone. There's other parts of your sales process where there's certain questions that require more of a skeptical, challenging tone. And there's others that require more of a concerned tone. I'm going to show you why and give you examples of that. Okay. Now, for what I want each of you to do here, because we've got 100 of you here on StreamYard, we've got 350 of you here on IG, and we've got a ton here on TikTok. So I want each of you, if you're on the live right now, go post hashtag live. So go to your phone right now, whatever phone you're on, okay, your cell phone, and I want each of you to go down and press and post hashtag live. So if you're on the live right now, in the comment section, go post hashtag live. And if you're on the replay, go post hashtag replay. Now I better see hundreds of hashtag lives and a ton of hashtag replays on the replay. I can just go golf here. It's only 99 degrees, 100 degrees here in Scottsdale today. It's not too crazy. So if you're on the live, post hashtag live, on the replay, hashtag replay. Now, I want each of you to go to your phone and I want you to smash the heart button and I want you to smash the like button. So smash the heart button, smash the like button. I better see, like I said, hundreds of smashed hearts and hundreds of smashed likes if I'm going to train you for the next 20 minutes how to use your tone to influence your prospects to open up. It's one skill that will quite literally make you hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in commissions, if not more, just as an individual salesperson. If you're a business owner, it can scale your company times 10. And I don't care if you're already a Fortune 1000 company. We train we train 2 Fortune 500 companies and several Fortune 1000 companies now. Okay. 158 different industries, including yours, watching me directly right now. Now, if you are a salesperson, whatever industry you're in, okay, or you're a business owner or sales manager, and you want to acquire these type of skills, what I show you on these lives or on reels is very basic. I'm not joking compared to what our clients learn. I'm showing you on our lives and reels, if you follow me anywhere on social media, I'm showing you 0.00001% of what our clients who are in your same industry are going through in our virtual training portals and our group training with myself and our advanced sales trainer. So if you want to start making your first 10 grand every single month in your industry, or if you want to start consistently making 15,000 every month with what you sell, or 20,000 every month, I'm talking about individual salespeople right now, people who work for companies or 1099 salespeople. You want to start making 25 grand every month or 30,000 every single month with what you sell. Or you're a bigger thinker and you're like, hey, I'm already making 10 or 15. How do I go to 40,000 a month in commissions or 50 or 60,000 a month in your industry? I can assure you, we are training thousands of salespeople in your industry that are already making those numbers I just gave you. And some of them make far more now. They're no different than you. They apparently drink water. They eat food. They have trials and tribulations at home. They go to church. They go to bars, all sorts of type of people. The only difference between them and you right now is they've acquired a more advanced sales ability than you have. And that's available to you. So if you want those skills to make that type of money, message me directly right now. So if you're on Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn or the Facebook group or the Facebook business page or my personal Facebook, message me directly right now. If you're on YouTube, you can't message me on YouTube, that platform. You have to join the Facebook group. It's right here in purple, flying underneath my name here on StreamYard, salesrevolution.pro. Message me directly right now, either myself or one of my stunt doubles. I've got like 25 stunt doubles in there. We'll message you back some different training options we have for your industry. We have 26 different sales training programs. Okay. Once we understand more about your industry, what you make now compared to where you want to be, and we understand what you're saying and probably not asking in your tone, once we understand those details, we recommend the right training course for you to go through that's going to give you that amount of income the quickest. So message me directly right now. If you want to have those skills, if you want to make that much money, you don't have to make more money. You can always just stay at the same level you're at now. Has no impact on us or our clients who sell what you do because we already have those skills, right? We just acquired them. Okay. All right. Now let's jump into this training. Now, if you can't figure out how to message me, then just in the comment section, post hashtag NEPQ. Post hashtag NEPQ and we'll come to your rescue. Now I'm going to put the IG phone over here so you guys can see this board. Okay. Can you guys see that real good? Are we good, Max, with the video equipment? Okay. All right. Couple different things. Now I'm going to move this over a little bit. Is that okay? Better. Okay. All right. Now what I'm going to show you now is the different types of tone, and I'm going to give you different examples, industry-specific examples, and why you want to use that type of tone compared to a different type of tone. So make sure you pay attention. I'm going to go about 20 to 25 minutes. I'm not going longer than that because I've got a lot to do today. All right. There are certain questions in your sales process that require more of a curious tone. I'm going to show you that. Now, there are other questions in your sales process. It doesn't matter if you sell B2B, business to business, or B2G, business to government, or B2C, business to consumer. Human beings are human beings, okay? There's other questions in your sales process that require more of a skeptical or challenging tone. Well, when do you use that type of tone? I'm going to show you some examples. And there's other questions in your sales process that require more of a concerned tone, a tone that shows more empathy. Well, how do you know when to change your tone? Because there's certain questions where you might want to start with a skeptical tone and then end it with a concerned tone. Dean said, this guy is passive aggressive king. I'm not sure how my tone would be passive aggressive. However, my tone and how I used it made me about $33 million in straight commissions in my 17-year career as a W-2 salesperson. If you made more than that, Dean, let me know. That was before I retired and started 7th level. So if my tone, maybe I shouldn't show Dean my tone. Maybe he's good by himself. Just to get Dean out of here. He doesn't want to hear tonality training, all right? All right, so we have to learn how to show more empathy in certain questions. All right, so let me give you these different examples here, okay? These are different industry-specific examples. Some of them I'm going to give you inbound leads compared to outbound leads, and I'll explain the difference to you, okay? So in this first example, now let me go through one thing with you. Now in NEPQ, so NEPQ stands for neuro-emotional persuasion questions. Okay, that's our methodology I developed from my background in college in behavioral science and human psychology, especially studying social dynamics. How does the brain make decisions? Which might be important to understand as a salesperson. How your prospects' brains makes decisions. You might want to know, okay, because it gave me a huge advantage as a salesperson because of my background in behavioral science and social dynamics that 99.999% of salespeople never learned. And most sales trainers never learn because they never went through that. So typically in our connection and situation questions, we're going to have more of a curious tone, okay? Now that doesn't mean that sometimes in those stages, we're not going to use a concerned tone, but typically it's going to be a curious tone. Now in problem awareness questions, we're going to use more of probably a curious / skeptical challenging tone. Okay, and I'm going to show you why. Solution awareness questions, more of a curious, skeptical tone, sometimes concerned. Consequence questions, which I'm going to show you some examples, we're going to use more of a skeptical tone, but we're going to end it with a concerned. And I'm going to show you why we do that and what it does psychologically to your prospect and how it builds massive trust. All right. So this first couple of examples, I'm going to use more of a curious tone. And then I'm going to tell you why I'm using a curious tone rather than something else. So in this first example, let's say this is an inbound lead. I know some of you do outbound, inbound, cold call. I'm just going to give you random examples, okay? Try to make you happy here. So let's say you're calling that lead on the phone for a scheduled appointment, okay? And let's say, okay, this first version, I'm just going to give you a generic version so you can just plug in. Okay, yes, John there. Hey, John, yeah, it looks like you had booked on the calendar about looking at possible outside help with your blank so that you could blank, right? Now, how did my tone come across? A curious tone, okay? Okay, so it looks like you had booked on the calendar about looking at possible outside help with your blank so that you guys could blank, right? And I'm going to repeat back the end result, okay? I'm going to get them into results-based thinking quickly in that conversation, all right? Now, in this example, let me give you something completely different, okay? Now, in this example, I'm going to give you an industry-specific example. Let's say you're in B2B sales real quick, and you would, you work for like a consulting firm, and you go in and you make sales to more small companies who need like operational help, marketing help. They need to build systems to really scale their company. So you primarily sell to an SMB type of audience. Now we train companies that sell to SMB, large enterprise, everything you can think of, individual consumers, everything you can think of. So let's say in this example, you're meeting them on Zoom and it's an inbound lead. Okay, I want you to see how my tone is a curious tone. So I'm going to lean it. Can you hear me? Yes. Can you see me? I look down at my notes. Okay, so it looks like you had booked on the calendar about looking at possible outside help with your operation so that you could scale the business, right? Nice, low key, relaxed. That's a curious tone. Okay, so it looks like you had booked on the calendar about looking at like possible outside help with your systems, like your operations, so you can start scaling the company, right? Nobody's going to say no, because that's the end result of what you sell. And I'm saying that in a calm, collective, curious tone. All right. Now I'm going to show you some other examples, far more detailed. Okay. Now in this example, this is an example of an NEPQ, neuro-emotional persuasion, what's called a connection question. Connection questions take the focus off you and immediately put on the prospect. Make sure you pay attention to what I'm going to go over here with you. I saved the best questions for last with the best tone for the people who stay on the longest. That's what I always do. I reward those people that take sales seriously. The ones who think they know everything, well, there's nothing I can do for them. They're just going to stay at the same income. Okay, so this first one's a generic example. Okay. Hey, is this John? You know, you go through that first question. Now, the second connection question would be this. And this is, like I said, this is not industry specific here. This is a generic one. I'll show you some industry specifics after this. Okay, so and I was just curious, like when you went through the ad the other day where they were talking about X and Y and Z, I guess what was it about the ad that attracted your attention? Now, what type of tone did I use that in? A curious tone. Let me repeat that. Pay attention to my tone and my body language. Now, if I'm on the phone, am I still going to use my body language like I just did? Am I going to move around? Yes, because that affects my what? My tone. Because if I just sit there like a robot and say this, I'm going to sound scripted. Okay. Has anybody ever watched like the cartoons on, you know, the Disneyland stuff? You watch the cartoons on TV and then you look at like documentaries where you would see the actors like using their voice in the studio. Do you ever notice, do they just sit there reading from a book? And Aladdin said, give me three, you can have 3 wishes. And on the third wish, no, they don't, do they? Robin Williams like, and Aladdin said, give me 3 wishes. And then, see, because he had to move his body to affect his tone. So when you're a salesperson, when you want to emphasize certain points, you might move your hands. When you're concerned, you might put your hand on your heart and lean in because that affects how your tone comes across. I'm going to show you some things like that today. Hey, so I was curious, like when you went through the ad the other day where you heard the company talking about X and Y and Z, what was it that they were saying that really attracted your attention? See, that's a curious tone. Now, I want to make sure everybody understands this. Write this down. Your tone is how your prospects interpret why you're asking the question. Let me repeat that. Your tone is how your prospect interprets why you're asking the question. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Because I can ask the same question and change my tone and get a completely different reaction from the prospect. I'm going to show you that in a second. Okay. So let's say if you're yelling at somebody, I'm going to go outside of sales. Let's say you're really pissed off at somebody and you're yelling at them. If you yelled at them like this with your hands out like this, what did they interpret that as? That you don't like them, that you're really pissed off at them. However, if I yelled at a person the same way, but just put my hand here, they get a different reaction. I don't even understand why you're doing that. Now they feel like I'm disappointed in them, but I don't hate them. But if I use my hands like that, they're going to get a different reaction that I don't like them, that I hate them. But if I just use my hand here, that communicates that I'm more disappointed in them, but not necessarily hate or angry with them. See how that works? Just a little body language thing I showed you. You're welcome on that one. Most of you probably didn't know that. Okay, let's keep going. I got several of these that I'm going to give you. Now, this is an NEPQ situation question, all right? So here we're going to ask more of a curious, more in a curious tone. Now, this first one's generic. The second one, I'm going to give you industry specific. Can you maybe walk me through who you guys are using now to blank so I have more context? John, just so I understand, who do you guys use now for X and Y and Z? See, that's a curious tone. That's a generic version, okay? Now, I'm going to give you an industry specific example right here. Hopefully you guys can all see this. Okay. Now in this example, let's say that you sell, what example did I give you guys here on this document? Okay. Let's say that you sell lead generation. Okay. So you sell leads to companies. They could be consumers as well. You could sell leads to insurance agents. You could sell, better, higher quality leads to big companies. It just depends. Okay. So my first situation question, because I want to find out the real situation, I'm going to find out what they're currently doing to generate new leads and clients. And I want to use a curious tone. Okay, I'm going to show you the difference. Can you walk me through what you guys do now to bring in new leads and clients? Sally, can you walk me through what you guys do now to bring in new leads and clients? Now that's a curious tone, because if I said it like this, John, can you walk me through what you guys do now to generate new leads and clients? Kind of a monotone tone. It's not going to open them up. Or, hey, what do you guys do now to generate new leads and clients? Or, hey, what do you guys do now to generate new leads and clients? Totally different reaction based on my tone. Can you walk me through maybe what you guys do now to generate new leads and clients? It's almost like a confused, curious tone. That triggers them to emotionally open up because they're interpreting that I don't understand. I'm confused about what they're doing, or I'm curious, which causes a human being to engage more. Tyler said it's all acting. It is. Do you know why Hollywood actresses like Julia Roberts and George Clooney, actors, make tens of millions of dollars per movie? Because they rehearse their lines and they learn how to develop the right tone for each parts of their lines. That's why as salespeople, if you don't learn what I'm showing you, because this is just a little nibble compared to what our clients learn, you're just losing sales that you could be making every single day. Our clients make these sales every day and they sell the same thing you do. But they understand the right questions. They understand how to use verbal cues, verbal pauses, and they understand where to use their tone in different parts of that sales conversation and process. And if you don't know how to do that, you're just losing deals you should be making. Okay. I know I'm just a mean guy today. Okay. So let me give you some more. I'm going to give you some more here, and I'm going to show you more of what a skeptical or challenging tone feels like. Okay. Now this is what's called an NEPQ problem awareness question. All right. Problem awareness questions help the prospect find out what their real problems are. Okay. So I'm going to ask this in a skeptical, challenging tone. So this right here is a generic version. Depending on your industry, we'd have to reshape this. I'm going to ask you I'm going to do some industry specific problem awareness questions in a second. What I'm about to show you is very generic. I just want to make sure I understand. Okay. So, you guys have been with ABC company for 3 years. Do you like the results you've been getting? Now, how did that tone come out? More of a skeptical tone. It's almost like, why am I even here? So help me understand. You guys have been with them for the past 5 years. What's caused you to possibly look at going a different direction? Skeptical, challenging tone. Okay, I'm not understanding. To me, it seems like things are 100% perfect with what you already have. What's caused you to even want to look at something different? Well, it's good, Jeremy, but it's not 100% perfect. Hold on. What do you mean it's not 100% perfect? Well, we like them, but, and then they go into what they don't like. See how I use my tone into a skeptical, challenging tone that caused them to pull me in when I was pushing them away. See, most of you have been forced to learn how to sell that you have to do all the work, that you have to do all the persuading, that you have to do all the selling, that you have to overcome all their objections, that you have to chase and follow up. What we train you at 7th level is we train you how to get your prospects to do all the work. Why do you want to do all the work? So exhausting mentally. See, we train you how to do prospects do all the work, how your prospects sell themselves. We teach you how to get your prospects to persuade themselves, overcome their own objections, and chase after you. That's why our clients are crushing your numbers right now. Okay, let's keep going. All right, so you've been with XYZ company for the past 3 years. It can't be all doom and gloom over there. What do you like about them? Oh, well, Jeremy, we like this. Okay, but what would you change if you could, though? Skeptical, challenging tone. I'm pushing away which causes them to pull me back in. That's how the brain works, okay? All right, let's keep going here. I'm going to show you some different examples here. Saved the best for last year. I've got about 4 or 5 more that I'm going to give you guys. Hope you're paying attention. Now, this example is a generic example. This is what's called an NEPQ consequence question. What are the consequences if they don't do anything about solving these newfound problems? So I want you to pay my attention to my tone, how it starts skeptically. Okay, but I mean, what are the consequences if you don't do anything about this? So what are the ramifications if the company doesn't address this issue? See, that's generic. Okay, I'm going to show you some industry-specific examples because you would plug in what the real problem is. You wouldn't just say, you know, if they don't do anything about this issue or if they keep the same problem. That's too vague. That's generic, okay? Okay, but what are the ramifications if you don't do anything about this? See, that's a skeptical, challenging tone. That triggers them to defend themselves on why they need to change. Because in my solution awareness questions, we get them to think and feel what the future is going to look like once all the newfound problems are solved. So when they're on that emotional high with the consequence question, you rip it away from them where they defend themselves on why they have to change and why they have to change with you. Okay, but what are the ramifications if you don't do anything about this? Well, I mean, I'm not going to make, okay, but why look at doing this now? Like, why not push it down the road like unsuccessful companies would? Well, the reason why we need to do this now is because of, see, prospects do all the work rather than you do all the work. Which is more persuasive? When it's the prospect's idea or your idea? Is pushing the most persuasive and putting sales pressure or getting them to pull you in more persuasive? I think you know the answer by now. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Got a couple more here. Okay. Now, these are industry specific. I'm going to give you a few industry specific examples. All right. So let's say that you're in B2B sales. Okay. We train a lot of companies in this space, and you train companies. You have companies where your company goes in and you teach them how to build culture for their employees. And the problems you solve is you solve companies, like high-level companies, like enterprise-level companies, from losing top executives to their competitors. So you come in, you teach them how to make a better culture. You teach their people how to be better leaders. You teach them how to have better award systems and gamification and things like that. It's a huge industry. You're talking billions and billions of dollars a year. So what happens if you guys don't do anything about this and your engagement scores stay the same and you keep losing your top people to XYZ company? Like, what are the ramifications for you at that point? Now, notice how I start off with a skeptical tone, okay? And then I end with a concerned tone. Now, why would I do that on my consequence question? Because when they feel I'm concerned for them, if they don't do anything about it, how are they interpreting that question? That I'm concerned for them. And I am, because if they don't do anything about solving the problem, they never get what they said they wanted. Hear my tone again when I do this. So what happens if you don't do anything about this and your employee engagement scores stay the same and you keep losing your top people to ABC company? Like, what are the ramifications for you at that point? Concerned tone. See what I just did there? Triggers them to think deeper about the question I just asked. Everybody pay attention to what I did there. Then I'm going to show you a few more examples here, okay? Let's say in this example, you sell solar. We train tens of thousands of reps in solar, pretty big companies. Now, in this example with solar, you help them lower their bill, lock in their rate to protect against rate hikes from their utility companies that they're forced to pay, and eventually have no bill. So in this example, let's say you're talking to a 45-year-old male and female homeowner, and now you're going to find out the consequences of what happens if they have to keep paying the rate hikes when they're retired, and now they're on a limited income, which causes them to think deeper about wanting to change that, where they're protected from having to pay the rate hikes from utility companies that they cannot stop. And if they stop paying, they just don't have any power, by the way. Okay. So what happens now? Notice how my tone starts skeptical and then goes into more of a concern tone. Make sure you write this down. This is really important, what I'm about to show you. Hope you're paying attention here. So what happens if you don't do anything about this and they keep raising your rates like they have, but now you're 70, 75 years old having to pay the bill every month. And now it's 3 times as high. But now you're on a limited income. How would you pay for it at that point? See what I just did there? Let me do it again for you. What happens if you don't do anything about this and they keep raising your rates like they always have, but now you're 65, 70 years old having to pay the bill every month, but now the bill's 3 times high and you're on Social Security? How would you guys pay for it at that point? Now, see how I go into that concern tone? Now, what does that do to the prospect? They're interpreting that I'm concerned if the problem stays the same. And that emotionally opens them up even further and builds a bigger gap. Are you getting it? Hopefully you're getting that. I'm just showing what I'm showing you is pretty basic today. Now I'm going to give you a generic version of what's called an NEPQ probing question. Okay. So let's say in this example, you can't overcome a prospect's objection because you're not in our training courses that show you how to prevent most of them from happening. It's called objection prevention. And if you do get a few here and there, we show you how to help them overcome their own objections rather than you trying to do it. Rebuttals very rarely work, as you know. If you throw out a rebuttal, it might work 2 out of 10 times. We're going to show you how to ask a few certain questions in any industry that gets them to think through their situation and actually resolve their own concern themselves. Pretty easy once you learn how. Pretty damn hard if you don't. Okay. So can I ask, like, what's really holding you back from moving forward? Sally, what's really holding you back from moving forward? See how I go into that concern tone? Now, why would I have a concern tone? Now, what I can also do, because this is generic version, is I can add in what they said they wanted. Okay. So let's say we go back to one of those examples I gave, and you sell business consulting to help smaller companies scale their businesses. What's really holding you back from moving forward so you can scale your company? See how I'm throwing in so you can, and I repeat back what they said they wanted. Okay. What's really holding you back from moving forward so you can financially protect your family when you do pass away? If you sold life insurance, see what I'm doing? I can add in whatever industry there. I'm throwing in the result of what we're doing here. Now, let me give you another example here. This is called an NEPQ problem awareness question. And let's say in this example, you sell life insurance or final expense like funeral insurance. And you find out from this prospect that if they passed away today, their spouse doesn't really have anything in place to protect them. So they have to go get a second job. They might have to get a loan to pay for the house payment. Like they'd lose the house, okay? Lose expenses. Kids would have to go to a different school. Their whole lives are turned upside down. They are not protected at all. And you find that out from your situation questions that, Cindy, let's say you're talking to Dan, and Cindy, his spouse, is going to be responsible for all that. So you're going to lean in a concern tone, not a like douchebag tone, because you're going to get a completely opposite reaction. You're going to lean and say, I mean, do you want Cindy to have to pay for all those expenses if you didn't have to? Do you want Cindy to have to pay for all those expenses if you didn't have to? No, if I didn't have to. But how many months would she be able to pay the house payment and all those other expenses without your income? Now notice that's a concerned tone. See what I'm just doing there? Now, if I sold life insurance and I used this tone, pay attention to how this tone sounds. Do you want Cindy to have to pay for all the expenses if you didn't have to, man? Well, no, dude. See, that's like a douche way to ask the question. But if I go into a concerned tone, they interpret that I'm concerned for them in that situation. Do you want Cindy to have to pay for all the expenses if you didn't have to? Well, no, if I didn't have to. But how many months would she be able to pay the house payment and all the car payments without your income? I'm not really sure. Well, if you really thought about how many months, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months. So what would happen to her and the kids at that point. Concerned tone. Now, what does that do to the prospect? It shifts them and opens them up where they visually see them leaving their family financially strapped and stressed for the rest of their lives. And emotionally, they attach to wanting to make sure that doesn't happen. Okay? Hopefully that helps you guys today. All right, so I just gave you a few different examples of how to use your tone. You want to acquire more advanced skills that work with human behavior, because what I just showed you was pretty dang basic today. So if you want to learn how to sell like our clients are, we're making 2, 3, 5 times what you are right now. I don't care if you already make 200 or 300 grand a year. We have clients in your industry that make 2 to 3 times that, just as salespeople. So if you want to start making your first 10,000 a month in commissions with what you sell, or let's say you want to start making your first 15 or your first 20 or your first 30 grand every single month in commissions with what you sell. Or let's say you're like, man, I'm already at 15. How do I get to 30 or 40,000 a month in commissions? Or you want to get to 50 or 60,000 a month or higher, message me directly right now. So if you're on TikTok or Instagram, or if you're in the Facebook group Sales Revolution or LinkedIn or the Facebook business page or my Facebook, message me directly right now. If you're on YouTube, you can't message me on that platform. You'll have to join the Facebook group. It's right here on the banner there, salesrevolution.pro. I'm going to have somebody, if you're on IG, you can join the free Facebook group. There's about 70-some thousand in that one. Do a lot more Q&As and trainings in that every week. IG, I might go live once a week or so. So I'm going to have somebody drop the link in there, salesrevolution.pro. You want to acquire those skills. Like I said, what I showed you, very, very basic compared to what our clients learn in our virtual training platforms on a day-to-day basis and our group training by myself and our advanced sales trainers. So you want to start making your first 10, 15, 20, 30,000 every single month in your industry, 40 grand every month with what you sell. Message me directly right now. Okay. So either myself or one of my stunt doubles or surrogates will message you back different training options that we have for your specific industry. We train 158 different industries, including yours, watching me right now. According to Forbes, guess how many industries there are? 158. There's subsets of all of those. We are in all of those at this point. That's why Selling Power Magazine, which is the largest magazine about sales in the entire world, been around since like 1981. Most Fortune 100, 500,000 companies make sales decisions off of their advice. Selling Power Magazine just ranked 7th level as one of the top 20 sales training companies in the entire world. Now, that's based on company revenue because they have to go through your taxes and your P&Ls. That was crazy. And it's also based on, most importantly, client results. That's why we have well over 15,000 plus testimonials in the last 3 years, no, less than 3 years. So you want to acquire those skills? You want to make that type of money? Message me directly right now. We will be going live in the Facebook group tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. On Wednesdays, I typically interview a client from a completely different industry, and we break down their sales process, and I let you ask them questions so you can sell more of your products and services. It's a pretty neat experience where you can ask people that are making 30, 50. I've even brought clients on there that are individual salespeople that make 100,000 a month in commissions plus, and you can ask them anything you want. You can ask me questions too. So if you want to join that live, make sure you join the free Facebook group. That's where we'll go live in there. We don't go live on IG or TikTok on Wednesday because I'm sharing the screen with other clients and I have to go live on StreamYard. So make sure you join the Facebook group, salesrevolution.pro, salesrevolution.pro. Okay, everybody, I got to get out of here. I got work to do. Love, peace. We'll see you guys soon. Message me directly now. You can't figure out how to message me, then just post hashtag NEPQ in the comments section and we'll reach out. Hashtag NEPQ. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow in the Facebook group.